and when the work will actually begin. There's no chance of it being ready at the moment before 2031. So why is he getting so excited about it? Why? It's not even a Labour policy, it's not even a Labour project. It was started years ago. There's no actual news whatsoever about when the first sort of spade will be dug into the ground.
That's a very good question. I mean, it's, I suppose, an insight into how government works. You have grim issue to deal with after grim issue to deal with. And I've got sympathy for anybody.
Do you remember when Keir Starmer promised to be different? When he said he'd bring honesty back to British politics? Well, those promises have aged like milk left out in the summer sun. The British public has finally had enough, and they're making their voices heard. In towns and cities across the nation, ordinary people are confronting Starmer with uncomfortable truths about his broken pledges, and his reactions speak volumes. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favour. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now back to the video.
An old stage managed idea of how politicians work. People who are watching this at the moment can see Starmer and Rachel Reeves standing there awkwardly having something explained to them.
And the more he tries to look human, the less human he looks.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And in an era where I think the amount of social media that's around, the fact that every single person has a mobile phone in their pockets where they can record things all the time and share all their thoughts and all the rest of it, that kind of wooden performance just doesn't really work anymore. When you've got Trump, who is so eager and happy to take every question under the sun and talk for hours and all the rest of it, I think we're going to start craving people who've got a level of authenticity.
The political landscape for disabled voters in Britain has undergone a seismic shift that few could have predicted. Recent polling data reveals a stunning reversal of fortune for Keir Starmer's Labour Party among this crucial demographic. Reform UK has now surged ahead with 29% support from disabled voters, while Labour limps behind a mere 20%. These aren't just numbers on a page, they represent real people turning their backs on a party they once trusted. So what's behind this dramatic collapse in Labour's support?
The grooming gang scandal, the grooming gang's shame, which a lot of people are calling, including Trevor Phillips, who's hardly, a rabid Tory looking to attack the Labour government at every opportunity.
Are real people who actually mean what they say and actually think about things and care about things, because we've seen so little of that for so long.
Well, because also when you see, and some people, they do this the day after a really, really cynical announcement that was made literally 40 minutes away from Parliament closing for Easter, that we're not going to do a grooming gang inquiry.
The answer lies in a deeply controversial policy announcement that has sent shockwaves through disabled communities across Britain. Work and Pensions Secretary Liz Kendall recently unveiled Labour's plan to drastically tighten the eligibility criteria for personal independence payment, known as PIP. This isn't some minor administrative tweak. It's a fundamental transformation of a benefit system that millions depend on. The true scale of this proposed overhaul is staggering. By Labour's own calculations, these changes aim to slash £5 billion annually from the welfare bill by 2030. Behind that enormous figure lies an even more troubling reality.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And there's a perfect example. Anybody with a single shred of humanity would look at the issue of these disgusting, evil, mostly Pakistani-led rape gangs.
We're just going to let the local people take care of it. We'll give them the money. They can spend it in any way they want. Jess Phillips, the woman who's meant to be the great saviour of women and girls in this country. And you just think, are they really that cynical? And I'm beginning to wonder if they are.
That is still going on to this day. Let's not forget about that. Would put politics aside, right? There's plenty of time to hammer the Tories on it later down the line if that's what they want to do.
Approximately 1 million people currently receiving this vital support could find themselves suddenly disqualified. That's not just a statistic. It represents 1 million individuals whose daily lives and basic dignity hang in the balance. Disability advocacy groups have responded with immediate and justified alarm. James Taylor, Executive Director of Strategy at the disability charity Scope, didn't mince words when assessing the potential impact. He described Labour's proposal as nothing short of a catastrophe that would penalise some of the poorest people in our society. His stark warning cuts through the political spin to expose the human cost of these policy decisions. To understand the significance of this betrayal, we need to recognise what PIP actually means in people's lives. This isn't some luxury handout. It's essential financial support that helps cover the substantial extra cost of living with a disability. For many recipients, PIP means the difference between independence and isolation, between dignity and desperation. It helps fund mobility equipment, specialised transportation, care assistance, and countless other necessities that non-disabled people simply don't have to consider. Take someone like Sarah, a PIP recipient with multiple sclerosis who relies on this support to afford the taxi fares to her medical appointments when public transport is inaccessible. Or consider Mark, whose PIP payments help cover the cost of specialised food preparation equipment that allows him to maintain his independence despite severe arthritis. These are the real people behind the statistics, whose lives hang in the balance of policy decisions made in Westminster. The callousness of Labour's approach reveals a profound disconnection between their carefully cultivated public image and their actual governing intentions. For years, Labour has positioned itself as the champion of society's most vulnerable, the defender of the welfare state against heartless cuts. Starmer himself has repeatedly criticised Conservative benefit reforms. Yet now, with power barely within his grasp, his party appears eager to target those same vulnerable citizens to balance the books. This betrayal hasn't gone unnoticed by the voting public. The opinion poll conducted in late March tells a devastating story for Labour. The survey, which divided respondents between disabled voters, 407 participants, and non-disabled voters, 1,000 participants, showed Reform UK not just competitive, but actually leading among disabled voters with that 29% figure. The historical context makes this shift even more remarkable. Look back to the last general election, when Labour enjoyed 36% support among disabled voters. That means we're witnessing a collapse of 16 percentage points in Labour's standing with this demographic. Meanwhile, Reform UK has gained 9 points on its previous performance. Political realignments rarely happen this dramatically or this quickly, without a major catalyst. And Labour's PIP announcement appears to be exactly that. What we're seeing is one of the most significant voter migrations in recent British political history. A core constituency that has traditionally viewed Labour as its natural political home is now actively seeking representation elsewhere. The message couldn't be clearer. Betray your principles and your voters will find alternatives. Labour strategists might argue this is simply about fiscal responsibility or modernising the benefit system, but disabled voters clearly see it differently, as an abandonment of the party's fundamental values and a betrayal of those who need support the most. The irony is palpable. In attempting to appear fiscally responsible to centrist voters, Labour may be permanently damaging its relationship with one of its most loyal supporter bases. The verdict is clear. Starmer's government has lost the trust of those who once formed Labour's core support base. It's not simply about electoral numbers shifting to Reform UK, it's about real people feeling abandoned by a party that promised to be their champion. While disabled voters flee Labour over benefit cuts, we're witnessing similar patterns across other demographics. The grooming gang inquiry U-turn particularly stings for communities seeking justice. What we're seeing isn't just political realignment, it's genuine public fury manifesting at the ballot box. As winter approaches with rising energy costs and continued immigration concerns, Starmer may soon discover the British public's patience has its limits.